You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
That'll be script reads me.
Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But
we are concerned about trying to get responsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Oh, we trained actors, motherfucker.
Good day to you all. Happy Fantastic Friday. Welcome to the new. I'm your host, Randy Pearl. So, yeah, it's Friday. No, but I hope you all had a fantastic week this week. There's a lot going on. Man, this week has been just like a roller coaster. But nonetheless, you know, it is what it is. It's part of life. You know, we take it in, we soak it up, and we move on, right? So, but of note, first and foremost, let me extend my thoughts and prayers out to the Rumsfeld family. Former Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld passed away at the age of 88 this week, and I would say, you know, everybody would have their opinions about Donald Rumsfeld and all that, but I would say in my tenure in service, when he was Secretary of Defense during my service, I didn't have an issue with him. He was pretty good. He was pretty great guy, you know. So I got it. You know, everybody has their opinions. Iraq War and all that good stuff. I got that, but just all in all, his service, his dedicated service to our country and to our country and everything speaks volumes. I mean, decades of service. So. Once again, our thoughts and prayers are extended out to the Rumsfeld family in their time of bereavement. Like I said, a lot's going on this week, a lot of craziness, and I know I'm gonna be short on time. I may not get to all of the stories today, but my intent is to highlight what is it that we're actually mad about, and that's a serious question. What is it that we as Americans are mad about? And I would even dial it down a little bit and say, what is it in the black community that we're mad about? In today's show, these are stories surrounding all black people. I know some people have been asking me about that for the longest, but here you are. stories around about all black people, and it will highlight the dichotomy that we're in a society, that you're not going to find any ethnic group that all agree or have the same views, ideological views, the same. This just non-existent. So you will see as I go through these various stories as to how that's true. You have black liberals, you have black conservatives, you have those, you have black independents in the middle. And so we're not a monolith to the rest of the societies out there. So today I'm gonna jump right into it with, first up, probably the hottest story. I would say the second hottest, maybe the first. I don't know. I'm still on the fence on deciding which one's the hottest. But Gwen Berry, she's a hammer thrower, for lack of better words, a hammer thrower that qualified for the Olympics last week. And she sparked some controversy due to the fact that she refused to acknowledge the national anthem at the time it was played. She came out and said that basically that she felt ambushed and trapped and tricked, that they played the national anthem while she was on the podium, when she was under the assumption that they would play it before they took the podium and everything. Now, I got it. We're in this phase in life. I'll call it that, a phase in life where you're being a athlete activist, as you're calling yourself, to protest against systemic racism. But here you are, you placed third. I'm not gonna get into the weeds of that. You placed third, but nonetheless, you're going to the Olympics, but you're saying that you're not going to recognize the national anthem because it's oppressive, and you're fighting against systemic racism, but you're on your way to the Olympics. Not only that, you've been selected previously to participate in the Olympics because of your talent and your skills. And I will further extend that knowledge that being that you are on that platform and on that stage, you're kind of showing some hypocrisy there by saying that something is racist, or you're partaking in a system that you're saying that is racist, and you're benefiting from it. On the surface of that, it makes no sense. But I get it. I will have a thesis at the end of this show about all of this. Like I said, there's a lot of stories to cover today. But outside of that, there's a lot of people on both sides of the spectrum that are supportive and angry that she pulled this stunt. Some critics say that she only did that because she came in third place. Had she came in first place, she probably wouldn't even did it. Okay, that's speculation. Then you have those that say, she's expressing her First Amendment right. Now, folks, once again, yes, she is. And I support those who protest and what have you peacefully. However, when you're protesting against something that's giving you the privilege to protest and the right to protest, and you're saying that your right to protest is oppressive, that's what you're saying. Because it's coming out of the system in which you're saying that it's oppressing you. Okay. I digress. Anyways, so that's what's going on with that. Now, I'm gonna fast forward ahead a little bit here, because another breaking story surrounding the Olympics just happened, and it is quite related, actually. So, and that is the discovery, I guess you could say, that Sha'Carri, how do you say her name? Sha'Carri Richardson tested positive for marijuana, and she is gonna be, you should say, suspended from participating in the Olympics here in a couple of months. Now, this story kind of just broke this morning, so the finite details to it all have not been fully emerged. But from what I gathered in the last few minutes of this, is basically her mother passed away recently, I guess in the last few days, and she partook in smoking some marijuana to, calm her stress, relax, and all that good stuff. And she tested positive for marijuana, and since it calls for a 90-day suspension when you test positive, according to the IOC, the International Olympics Committee. When you test positive, you're suspended for 90 days, right? So because she went and she's agreeing to go into a rehab program or whatever, her suspension will be reduced to 30 days. So she may still ultimately participate in the Tokyo Olympics for the 100-meter track. But she is also going to qualify she's still going to be able to participate in the relays. How that works, I don't know, don't care. But nonetheless, this goes back to, I just showed you 2 black women that are in the Olympics. One is protesting about systemic racism and this, that, and the third. The other, she did something that went incongruent with the rules of the sport in which she's partaking in. She's taking full responsibility for her actions, I'm assuming. So she's not playing victim. However, what some people are doing is saying that she is being targeted because she's black. I can't make this stuff up. Social media is just a trip. But she brought that attention to herself. She did something that was against the rules. She probably knew it was against the rules. I'm sure she knows it was against the rules because this is not her first Olympic appearance. So I'm really confused, America. I'm really confused as to why is it that when somebody does something that they're not supposed to do, all of a sudden they're a victim of being targeted because of their skin color. We need to break this mindset. Now, I can see if they said, "Oh, you black girl, nope, you're out of here. We don't want you on the team." And she's like, "Why? Man, we ain't gotta give you a reason. You're just out of here." Then you might have an argument. You might. Now we have a series of black women who have qualified just recently along the same lines to go to the Olympics, who have not gotten into trouble. Why are they not targeted for some reason? So this on his face is a fallacious argument that she's being targeted because she's black. No, she's being targeted, not even targeted. She got in trouble because she was smoking marijuana. It's like, stop the freaking madness, people. Stop it. It's not cute. It's not cute, and it makes us collectively look stupid. Seriously, it does. So I get it. She's a great athlete. I watched a couple of her events, and I was like, wow, she is explosive on the track. And to add, she has some, I guess you would say, some flavor and swag to her that, creates that atmosphere of I'm a competitor. And so she's responsible for her actions. Period. The end. And I always say that we are a product of our decisions, not our circumstances. And this is one of those situations. Just like with Gwen Berry, she is a product of her decisions. So when people are attacking her for her hypocrisy, at the end of the day, that's what it is. You brought that on yourself because you made a conscious decision to create an action that has spurred reaction. So it is what it is, folks. I mean, it sucks, but hey, that's part of life. That's part of life, But anyways, I wish Miss Richardson all the best in her future endeavors, and in hopes that she gets the treatment and the help that she needs, and the support that she needs in the passing of her mother. So, folks, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break real quick. We'll be right back. Keep it locked right here, and we'll see you in a couple minutes.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
Hey, welcome back. So, I was just checking my social media just now because it just kept blowing up behind me, and I was like, "What's going on?" But there are a few people that are that are acknowledging that they agree with me finally on something, and it's in reference to my post about Sha'Carri, Richardson, that I made earlier this morning. But folks, if you have to find a reason to finally agree with me about something, then you probably need to reevaluate yourself, because there is nothing that I actually ever said that really warrants disagreement. Anybody can go back and look at all my social media posts, and you will see that it is grounded in facts, logic, maybe some opinion is thrown in there, but once again, that opinion is supported opinion. So if you're finding yourself on the opposite spectrum to disagree with what it is that I have said, then I would recommend that you reevaluate your position with the same source material that I utilize to arrive to my conclusions, and then you will find that you actually agree with me. But there are some people that I notice, they would disagree with you just to disagree with you. They don't even put a thought behind what it is you said, did, or whatever. They just going to disagree with you because your name is so, and they hate your guts, and they're going to disagree with you regardless. You could say they're a beautiful person and say, nope, I'm ugly as hell, and there you go. So, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So I appreciate the, I guess, compliment. I don't know what else to call that you finally agree with me on something. Okay, whatever. But so I will say, this is what I said earlier about hot story. I don't know if it was Gwen or Bill Cosby being released from jail. I cannot really determine which two is the hottest story. I would say they're both equally hot. Now, this week, Bill Cosby was released from prison due to a technicality in which resulted in his Fifth Amendment and due process, I'll touch on that in a second, were violated. And so the Pennsylvania Supreme Court vacated his prison sentence. He had already did 3 years, vacated his prison sentence and set him free. Now, I made a post about it saying "Welcome home, Cosby" a couple of days ago, and some people took some offense to it, and that's fine. That's great. However, I'm not excusing what it is that he did to go to prison in the first place. When he was sentenced to prison, I was like, okay, he did what he did. It's whatever. Have a nice life, because he's going to likely die in prison. But I am also a proponent of due process and fair legal proceedings against a person. And so, and with that, you cannot sit here and say that a person's rights, their civil and constitutional rights, don't matter because they committed a crime. Now, if the DA, prosecutors, whoever, police, if they fail to do their job in the admission, or the administering, for lack of better words, the administering of the law, and that person subsequently gets off from that crime, what are we mad about? Be mad at the DA, be mad at the police, be mad at the prosecutors, be mad at even the legal system. But you can't take your frustration and anger out on the criminal itself. They were caught. They were being prosecuted. But in the process, in the due process of it all, some mishaps, some missteps occurred that subsequently got that person off. That's life. It sucks. Now, as I have said many, many moons ago about certain individuals that are still walking around, after they committed a crime and, it became national news for some reason or another, yeah, I can't see myself in that situation. I can't see myself sitting in the courtroom watching an assailant go through trial and eventually get off and still be breathing. Just saying. I'm not advocating for vigilante justice or anything like that, but it just, so for some things, it just should never arrive to that point. And I think we all, as people, can agree to that. So, anyways, but nonetheless, Bill Cosby was released from prison, and in his situation, though, we have to be honest with ourselves and look at what transpired and how it transpired. You had a series of women. This is right at the height of the Me Too movement. So you had Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein. You had all these people that were being Matt Lauer. Kevin Spacey. You had all these people that were being like just all of a sudden accused of some kind of sexual impropriety by women. Some by men too, but largely by women. And so this sparked the Me Too movement. And the Me Too movement consisted of regaining or restoring power to women for women to have a voice and how they are treated in industries. And so at the height of this, several women came forward against Bill Cosby saying that decades ago he did XYZ to them. Some of them returned back into his presence. Some were paid off. Some, were even lying about the situation because they saw other people coming forward. They figured they could cash in on the opportunity as well. So you got all of that. And not only now you have decades later of this omission of stuff that's going on, then on top of it, they wait until he, announces that he was in the works of purchasing one of the TV networks. I think it was NBC at the time. And that's when everybody started coming out. And it was like, where were you a few years ago? Where were you when it happened? Why wait until he's about to do something spectacular? And this is the problem with that I have personally with a lot of these movements and these coming forward type of things that go on is you wait until the person is about to do something. You wasn't thinking about it this whole entire time, likely. But you wait till their name pops up again in the media, and you're like, "Oh, I'm gonna go after them now." It's hard to not to say that your story isn't credible, but it's hard to give you credibility as a person when that happens, because it's like, what is your underlying motive here? Obviously, this was either something that didn't really bother you, something that you were complicit in. There's so many things that we can speak to these elements about, but we don't want to have that conversation, ladies and gentlemen. Why? Because that's saying that you're not being supportive or sensitive to people's situation. No, I am, and that is if I'm being sensitive in the fact that if you were so concerned about it, let's get it taken care of immediately, while memories are fresh, while evidence is likely still fresh, etc., etc., so we can warrant a proper prosecution of the crime. Not wait 40 years later and say, I think we was at this place, I think his name was this. No, come on. So that's just my opinion. It's an unpopular opinion, but I mean, it is what it is. But in the light of all of what's going on with Bill Cosby, Phylicia Rashad, who has been supporting Bill Cosby from the Jump Street, she has came under fire this week as well from Howard University, where she's a dean at, and the students are calling for her to resign because she's supporting Bill Cosby. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, what are we mad about? Is it not her right to support a longtime colleague of hers that she literally was married to on TV for like 2 decades almost? What position do you have in life to dictate to another person how they should feel or think about an individual that they personally know? Most of you weren't even born when these two were acquainted. And so you're like, oh, she's supporting Bill Cosby, she needs to go. And it's like, what are we doing? Like, seriously. Since when do we devolve in society to dictate how people should think and feel? Like, what we do that at? Like, seriously. Like, this is a fully grown woman who is probably well aware of his situation better than probably anybody else. Probably better than the man himself. And what's going on, who he was interacting with, and all that good stuff. And she's like, I stand by him, I support him. Because she probably knows the intimate details of things that went on, how they transpired and everything else. I'm not making an excuse for them. What I am saying is, this woman is still entitled, regardless of how you personally feel, she is entitled to her opinion and her feelings on the matter. Because she has firsthand knowledge of what's going on. It's almost like we're cultivating a breed in society that are thought police. Go read the book or watch the movie 1984. Craziness. But then there's some that say, they support Bill Cosby, like Phylicia Rashad. So, like I said, I'm not excusing what the man did or anything else like that. But as somebody who is a constitutionalist and believes in, equal justice under the law and everything, his civil rights, his constitutional rights were violated. He got off on that. I can't be mad at him for that. So, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. But Robert L. Johnson, Robert L. Johnson, billionaire, mogul, entertainment mogul, founder of BET, subsequently sold it. That's how he became a billionaire. He is still calling for it. Now, a couple years ago he did this, but he's coming back on the spotlight to call for reparations, because he said no matter if you're rich, poor, or in between, we are all owed reparations for the ills of slavery. Now, I recognize that there are times that people will say or do something just to get their name back into the media for whatever reason. And I think he's one of those people, because I'm hard pressed to believe that he is sincere in his position about reparations. Because if he was, he would have presented a more reasonable plan versus this astronomical one that no one in their right mind would entertain ever in life. And his plan consists of $14 trillion of direct payments to every black person in America. Yes. Regardless of whether or not you're a descendant of slave, whether you came from Africa on a visa or you immigrated here, don't matter. You are entitled to get a piece of this $14 trillion and a $30 billion tax incentive program to spur opportunity. Let me get the wording correct here. It's called BOSS, Better Opportunity and Outcomes for Socially Disadvantaged Talent Act. What does that mean? That there should be money given to a program to help foster and cultivate people who are disadvantaged communities, on top of this $14 trillion that they would get and everything else. This is why we can't be taken seriously, ladies and gentlemen. We can't be, because you're pitching a $14 trillion, we can barely get a $1 trillion infrastructure plan passed in the House to fix roads and upgrade stuff in America. And here you are coming along talking about some, you a billionaire, and you talking about some, give everybody, give black people, only black people, $14 trillion. You walked into my office with that, I would have closed the door on you. I'd be like, get out. just go. Folks, there are proponents out there that are against reparations that are black, and there are those that are in favor of it. Now we can get into the weeds. I don't have time today, but we can get into the weeds of what is reparations, why should we get it, and all this kind of stuff. This is why Congress had put together that commission, this study reparations commission that they did a couple years ago. And you had proponents on both sides. Once again, the most notable was Ta-Nehisi Coates, who was advocating for reparations. Danny Glover. There was a few other notables that were arguing for it. And then you had people like Candace Owens, Coleman Hughes. Who else? There was a couple of others that were arguing against reparations. And so this is not a cookie cutter solution or idea that can be resolved overnight. It just can't. If America and black people want to really resolve this whole discussion about who is owed what, they would really, really, really have to dig into the books. Go back to reparations. You can go back to slavery itself, right before it ended. But you can look at that. You can look at reparations. You can look at lineages and what has transpired throughout time with these families, with these individuals, and what have you. There's ways that we can solve this problem and say, okay, based on what transitioned, what transpired, what happened, this is what you should be owed. You would be owed in today's currency. Type of thing based on, inflation and all that good stuff from that time period. So, no one's willing to do that work. At the end of the day, no one's willing to do that work because there's too many variables involved. I mean, you look at reparations, you look at the Reconstruction era, and how there were some families. This is on record, ladies and gentlemen. Go and look it up. There were some families that actually received 40 acres and a mule. They actually received plots of land. When the westward expansion took place, going into Nebraska, Oklahoma, and everything, how you think Tulsa got here, hello. When all of that was taking place, there were booming black businesses, black communities, and everything else going out to the west. And those folks, during that time, they also got caught up into life. And that life consisted of death, consisted of debt, consisted of dealing with Native Indians in those regions, and some lost their land, some sold their land to get away from that area. This is how the black migration of 1877, actually it was 1871, but 1877 was also another spark of a migration going northward. This is how all that transpired. So it's hard to pitch an argument that whose great grandfather did have land from being a slave, was running a business, sharecropping, whatever he was doing. It's hard for me and he decided to sell it, or he got rid of it, or he died. It's hard for me to come along 3 generations later, 4 generations later, and say that I'm owed money because my folks were slaves and we didn't get our fair share of, whatever. When that situation took care of itself at the time that it happened. This is the things. These are things that we need to. This is that discussion to that level of fidelity that we need to have. You can't sit here and say you're owed something when you don't even know. You don't even know the history behind, what was going on. You can't even prove, let alone likely, that you are even a descendant of a slave. You're making an assumption that you're a descendant of a slave. Unless you got proof, and unless you can prove what has happened in those generations from slavery to your situation, you can't make a claim that you're owed something. You just can't. It's an infallible argument. So, anyways, Folks, like I said, I'm running short on time, and I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about today. So we're going to jump to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com. You are listening to the Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.
So it's time for me to buy a new mouse. This thing is like not clicking the way I need it to. Anyways, so the delusions of the left. You can't make this stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You really can't. And I say that because we have a few characters this week. One being Cedric Richmond here. He is a former congressman out of Louisiana District 2? 14? Anyways, he's a former congressman. He is now a senior Biden official, advisor in the Biden administration here. He was on Meet the Press and was having a discussion. I think it was Meet the Press. Anyways, he was on TV last week, and talked about defunding the police and how that it was a Republican push to do so, and not one from the left. I saw the interviewer's face go, whoa, like Did the party switch sides again? Did we miss something there? Because this is like totally a Democrat agenda item. It is defunding the police. So how is it that you are coming along saying that this was something that was done by Republicans? Every city in America that is pushing defund the police is ran by Democrats. Minneapolis, Seattle, New York, Atlanta, Washington D.C., Chicago. Like, dude, like, are you serious right now? Like, are you trolling us? You just trolling. Okay, I good joke, Cedric. Good. Now, I've been somewhat following Cedric Richmond for years. He defeated what's his name? David Cal. I want to say his first name is David. But you watch the documentary, Mr. Cal Goes to Washington. And it's not C-O-W, it's C-A-O. Mr. Cal Goes to Washington. And you will see the beginning of the start of Cedric Richmond's career in his pathways to becoming a congressman out of Louisiana. I like the guy. He's a little out there sometimes, but he makes a convincing argument. So yeah, I respect that. You know, his swag of politics is, I can respect it. A little delusional, but I can respect it. It got him where he is today. So I can't trip. Everybody has their niche, I guess. But in a serious note, when we're looking at, you know, you have officials, administration officials like Mr. Richmond, who are espousing these ideas or these talking points that something was done by the other party, which is factually and just like on his face a lie. But you will have those that will jump on that bandwagon for the sake of just jumping on it because it came from a Democrat or a black person. And they jump on it knowing that was a lie. And they support and they push and regurgitate these narratives. And we get into this mindset or this notion that when you repeat a lie long enough or enough, it becomes true. And so you see the Republicans are sitting back like, did he really just, how did he even come up with that? Like, no. But then you have black conservatives that are sitting back like, come on, bro. Like, we can argue and debate about almost anything out there, but you going to really sit there and say that? Like, seriously? And, folks, the defund the police movement is bought and paid for, literally, by the Democrats. And so, I don't even know I don't even know how he even came up with that. And I think it was an off the whim, off the cuff response. You have to go back and just watch the interview itself. It was like, wow. But in the other news of wildness, Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot came out with a statement today, or it was yesterday, in the last couple of days, talking about that her criticism is rooted 99% because she is a woman and because she's black. So it's rooted in racism and sexism. That's why she gets criticized so much. Not because of her policies, not because of how she responds to people publicly, but because she's a black woman. Folks, you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. Now, we all remember just a couple weeks ago, she released a policy, a rule, whatever you want to call it, saying that she will only talk to the press or do interviews with the press that were of color. Blatant racism, number one. Number two, blatant discrimination. And number three, a blatant stupid-ass comment. But, okay. But you want to now sit here and turn around and play victim saying that people are criticizing you only because you're a woman and because you're black. Now, one of her, I guess you could say, colleagues in the political spectrum, is a 20th Ward alderwoman by the name of Jeanette Taylor, and she fired back saying that it's a cop-out that Lori Lightfoot is utilizing because of the simple fact of her failed policies in Chicago. And we have to ask ourselves, people from Chicago, why is it that Chicago is constantly the topic, the focal point of conversation when it comes to violence, when it comes to corruption in the United States? Why? It's because you have people like this that focus on the wrong things, and they sit there and they point to something that is totally like non-existing. No one's criticizing you because you're a black woman. For those that remember, have good memory, Harold Washington, first black mayor of Chicago in the 80s, he was beloved by everybody. I can vaguely remember him because I was a kid, but he actually came into our neighborhood, actually shook his hand like days before he died of a heart attack. But no one like had ill will towards Harold Washington. Then we fast forward to what's his name, Richard M. Daley, another mayor I met in person and in school. Pretty cool guy. I didn't really follow his politics or anything, but just I met him and he was like, "Oh, it's the mayor of Chicago." Just like, "Hey, how you doing?" Okay, whatever. And then you had Rahm Emanuel. Rahm Emanuel caught hellified criticism in his 8 years in Chicago. So you're not subjected. You're not exempt from being subjected to criticism, Miss Lightfoot or Mrs. Lightfoot. Anyway, so quit tripping. But this is once again. This is why we can't be taken seriously. We can't have serious conversations because you have people like Cedric Richmond and Lori Lightfoot that throw these radical things out there to like deflect from what's going on, and you're just like, you have no choice but to pay attention to it. You're just like, wow, did you really just come up with that? No, you could have came up with anything else, and we would likely would have said, okay, that's a possibility. But you really threw that? Okay. Woo! But it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. It is what it is. Now, another story that kind of popped up just yesterday was Vice President Kamala Harris's staff is in disarray because they work too hard, and she's a meanie. And I don't mean to laugh at people's plight in the workspace, because that should be like your secondary home, your sanctuary away from your sanctuary. You should be able to come to work and enjoy your atmosphere. You should be able to do that with very little stress, depending on what you're doing, what kind of job you have. But all in all, you should be able to go to work and have an enjoyable experience. But according to these 22 staffers, they are catching hell left and right, and they're just like, they're willing to go public to tell their story, that how hard they have it with working with the VP and other senior staff members. And so spokeswoman Simone Sanders came out and released a statement saying, hey, it is what it is. We're not here to make rainbows and and puppies or something. I was like, okay. She's not denying the abuse that's going on with the employees. And there was one staffer that worked on Harris's campaign that worked 3 previous presidential campaigns, quit because of the attitudes and the abuse that was going on. She's like, I never been treated like this in my entire career, and blah blah blah. So we have to peel back the onion and look at the causal effects. Excuse me, I am sleepy today. It's kind of going me out. But anyways, we have to look at the causal effects of why so many people have an issue with the way Kamala Harris runs her operations. Now, is it because she's under tremendous amount of stress? Is it because the people that she surrounds herself with are just generally wimps? Like, what is the problem here? And we have to look at also who it is that's saying these things and their background. So I don't know. I find it funny that you have black staffers that are like, it's hell working with her. Then you have black staffers, oh, this is a great thing. Oh my God, I love it. I love it here. It's great. But then you have Simone Sanders, who's like, yeah, we just don't care how they feel, what they think. We're not here to make rainbows and puppies. We're just not. It is what it is. You either can do the work or you can't. And I largely agree with you. So, anyways, folks, get out of here. Go take a nap. Sleepy. Whew. I did go to bed late last night. But anyways, no excuse. But I am here with you. I didn't cancel and say, oh, I'm too tired, or oh, I had something else going on, so I'm just not gonna do the show and I'm just gonna sleep in instead. I didn't do that. I'm here. So cut me some slack. Anyways, hey, thank you all for tuning in today. Appreciate you. You can follow me on social media there at rperm, @rperm. It's right there. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Love to have you. And if you want to be a guest on the show or be a sponsor of the show, please reach out to rperm@gmail.com and we can get that set up. Also, if you're looking to support my campaign for Congress, you can go to my website right there, rpermforus.com or rpermforus.com. And also, let's see. Oh yeah, if you want to pick up my phenomenal book, The New You, Now Equipped with Wisdom, you can do so in e-Kindle format on Amazon.com. And I think that is it. Also, go to TECNTV.com and you can take part in our Reach One campaign, where we are encouraging our audience to pick a show or follow all of the shows for a week. Let us know how we're doing, what we're doing, and how we can improve. And that way we can bring you quality programming on a weekly basis, if not a daily basis. So thank you all once again. We will see you all, God willing, on Monday. I don't think I have anything crazy going on. So I shall be here on Monday, and we can go from there. Take care. God bless. And oh, by the way, Red Friday, RED Friday, we take this time to thank our men and women who serve our nation across the world, away from home, making their sacrifices and commitments in defense of our nation, in defense of our freedoms, liberties, and way of life. We salute you and we thank you for what you do. Take care. God bless you all. See you all next week. And happy 4th of July, America. Enjoy and be safe.
The Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.theexceptionalconservativeshow.com.